Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to today's edition of Talking Politics. I am your host, Robert Press. I write for the Bronx Chronicle, as you can see by my official New York City press card. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and the Parkchester Times. The Parkchester Times, like this show, is part of Muslim Media Corporation. I also have a blog at www.100%blogspot.com and Facebook pages 100% and What is Going On in Your Community Board. The views expressed on this show are that of the host, any guest, or any commentator whose comments you may see scroll across the bottom of your screen, and not necessarily are those of Muslim media. Let's go to today's weather. After a high of 82 last Monday, it was 47 yesterday afternoon with rain. It seems like the rain has stopped but may come back tonight with a high of 57 today. Tomorrow on Saturday, it'll be clearing with a high about 65. Sunday, about 61 with sun. And Monday, it should get up about 64 again under sunny skies. We have a crisis now going on in the Middle East. Let's see, things came to a head when Israel struck the consulate in Damascus and killed 7 members of the Iranian country's Revolutionary Guard. The Iranians responded on April 13th with an unprecedented 200 or 300 missile attack on Israel. They said the response was proportionate because no injuries were reported. Iranians said this was really to create a new reality in the Middle East, and this kind of tit-for-tat behavior by Israel will no longer be tolerated. And however, Israel, if I can find of course, said they would respond, whether that is what we are seeing unfold yesterday, or I should say last night here. In our response, it highlights just how fragile the tense peace situation is in the Middle East. Iranian state television has been reporting more details and different kinds of stories around the Israeli missile attack on Isfahan. It says that around 12:30 a.m. Middle Eastern time, 3 drones were sent over the sky over that city. Air defense systems were activated. They destroyed the drones in the sky. There was no word from Israel about the alleged attack. Then it was said that Israeli missiles had hit a site in Iran, according to ABC News, which cited an unnamed senior official, U.S. official. The Iranian state television reported explosions in Isfahan as air defenses were activated and flights across several areas, including Tehran and Isfahan, were suspended. Why would Israel want to target that city? It is considered a strategic, important city with its location covering important facilities, including a military research factory and development sites, as well as an air base where 1970 U.S. F-14s are stored. Those are from before the regime in Iran. That is one of their main planes that they use to support them. So if Israel, with their F-35 jets from the United States, is much more prepared to take on Iran. The United States announced Tuesday it will impose new sanctions targeting Iran in the coming days following the unprecedented attack on Israel Saturday. Sanctions include targeting Iran's missile and drone program, new sanctions against entities supporting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Iran's defense ministry, according to the White House's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. We anticipate that our allies and partners will be soon following with their own sanctions, and Sullivan said in the statement, we will not hesitate to continue to take action in coordination with allies and partners around the world with Congress to hold the Iranian government accountable for its malicious and destabilizing actions. The United States also vetoed a widely backed United States resolution that would have paved the way for full membership for the state of Palestine in the United Nations. Meanwhile, let's shift to one of my favorite topics, Donald Trump. The difficult process of selecting a jury in the case against Donald Trump neared its conclusion yesterday with 12 jurors named and one alternate. And today, the final 5 alternates will be chosen. So the jury is made up of 7 men and 5 women who live in different parts of Manhattan, the Upper West Side, Harlem, Hell's Kitchen, and the West Village. They come from a range of different backgrounds and employment histories. Several jurors said they have no strong opinions on Trump, and a few said that they did not follow the news. The exact racial makeup of the jury and the ages of the juries is unclear. The full identities of the jury will remain anonymous because of security concerns. Judge Marchand, who is presiding over the criminal hush trial, barred reporters from revealing the current and former employees of the jurors and urged them not to use physical descriptions that could compromise their identity. 5 alternates, like I said, 5 alternates are to be chosen today. Donald Trump faces up to 4 years in prison, though there's no guarantee he will get time behind bars. Trial is expected to last 6 weeks or more. Prosecutors, meanwhile, have said that Donald Trump has violated his gag order several more times, pointing to posts online calling the situation ridiculous. In his first campaign event here in New York since jury selection got underway, Donald Trump visited a Harlem bodega on Tuesday following the second day in court. The store was the site of the 2022 fatal stabbing of a attempted stealer who was stabbed by one of the employees and died. Trump described the city as crime-ridden, where his fate will be decided. The appearance signaled an effort by Trump to go on the offensive after 2 days beside in court while kneecapping Alvin Bragg, the Democratic prosecutor trying his case. A relentless critique of Democrats' handling of crime to counter public focus on his own criminal case. It's Alvin Bragg's fault. Alvin Bragg does nothing. He goes after guys like Trump who did nothing wrong. Trump said outside the store, there are hundreds of murderers all over the city. They know who they are. They don't pick them up. They go after Trump. He also used the opportunity to similarly go after the influx of migrants into New York City, going so far as to predict he would win New York, which no Republican candidate has carried the state in 30 years. Meanwhile, anticipating the attack on his record, DA Bragg's office tweeted New York Police Department statistics showing a 39% drop in shootings and 23% drop in murders over the past year in Manhattan. Trump was flanked by bodega and small business group member Carlos Collado about the bodega's owner, I should say, Mad Ahem, and he called his trial rigged, said that a judge overseeing his case, there's never been a judge that's been so conflicted as this. Trump spent much of Tuesday in court before the trip to the bodega where clerk Jose Alba fatally stabbed the customer who was attacking him, as I said, in a case that captured natural attendants. Alba was initially charged with murder, but Bragg later dropped the charges. Trump's visit put him on Alvin Bragg's home turf, the neighborhood that raised him. Trump supporters gathered near the bodega cheering him loudly, chanting 4 more years, singing the Star-Spangled Banner. He greeted them warmly and headed inside for a few minutes. Also, beyond the police barricades, hundreds of New Yorkers crowded to watch the spectacle. And while some appeared to support Trump, others were booing him. The incident highlighted the complications of running for president while you're on trial. Meanwhile, in the 19th congressional district, there is a challenge to the Democratic candidate, Jake Riley, who is looking for the working families ballot line in the upcoming 19th congressional district. It appears that he has submitted 232 signatures, of which for the working families party line, challenges are to 83 of them. If the challenges prove successful, Riley would fall 6 signatures short of the cutoff to be placed on the ballot line. When attempting to run in a crowded Democratic primary for a Syracuse congressional seat 2 years ago, a member of the Onega County Democratic Committee accused Riley of submitting faulty signatures. However, the case did not proceed after the congressional boundaries were redrawn, and Riley ran in a different district against Mark Marilano, who beat him by 4,500 votes, or 1.6%. The race now, again, will be between the two candidates, incumbent Marinaro and Democrat Josh Riley. Is drawing a big, it's really going to be watched by political operatives as Democrats seek to retake the U.S. House of Representatives while Republicans seek to hold on to it. If you haven't heard, at Columbia University, New York City police removed a pro-Palestine demonstration encampment on yesterday, arresting more than 100 demonstrators, including the daughter of a prominent Minnesota congresswoman. Several students involved in the protest said they were also suspended from Columbia and Barnard College, including Isra Hersey, who is the daughter of Democratic U.S. Representative Iha Omar. Omar has questioned Columbia's president, Nimat Sahaki, at a hearing Wednesday in Congress about the school's targeting of pro-Palestinian protesters. Police said 108 people, including Harishi, were arrested with trespassing at the private Ivy League institution. 2 people were also charged with obstructing government administration. Now, Mayor Adams has said that we want to give you an update last night on the protest that has been taking place at Columbia University. More than 100 protesters were occupied Columbia's South Lawn for over 30 hours. This was in violation of university rules. Columbia University has an obligation to protect the students, and the university president reached out to the NYPD in writing and asked for support. After numerous warnings, campus security and NYPD issued to the students and those who were occupying the space. NYPD officers then moved in to ensure the safety of the campus. Students and staff made more than 100 arrests, according to Mayor Adams, and the NYPD ensured that there was no violence or injuries during the disturbance. He says, I urge people who are protesting to please do so peacefully and respectfully, because we will not have a city of lawlessness. In this moment of heightened tension around the globe, we stand united against hate. Now, the state budget. Not all of the state budget is passed. It's being done in parts. So let me read you what's been passed right now. Lawmakers have started the process to vote on 3 bills after approving a one-day budget extended yesterday. Those are public protection, general government, transportation, economic development, environment conservation. This was as of 6 p.m. yesterday. These bills were signed. Retail theft and hate crimes includes provisions to combat retail theft. Okay. We'll talk about that some other time. Why don't you come on the show, AJ? All right. Come on the show. You know how to get in touch with me. We'll have you as a guest. All right. Let me continue with the retail theft. Provision to combat retail theft, increasing penalties for assaulting a retail worker, and expands the list of hate crime eligible charges. The new language, assaulting a retail worker, would become a Class E felony. Final language includes a provision that the state Senate included in their budget proposal that would aggregate connected retail theft committed over a period of time to charge offenders with a more serious offense, such as a Class A misdemeanor with the fostering of the sale of stolen goods. Legislation includes Hochul's pitch to expand the list of offenses that could be charged with hate crimes and gang assaults, various sex assaults, but does not include graffiti offenses, as Hochul wanted. Cannabis enforcement, law enforcement reforms, allowing cannabis management as well as local agencies, local enforcement, enhanced powers to shut down illegal dispensaries made in the state public protection general government bill. Authorities will now be able to seal the premises of illicit dispensaries while dispensary proceedings play out, addressing the current system where storefronts are closed down only to reopen days later. According to the budget legislation, unlicensed dispensaries would have 7 days to request a hearing. A final decision would be rendered within 4 days. Within 4 days of a hearing, known as the Smoke Out Act of Queens Assemblywoman Jennifer Racour. I will be going to a commercial in a moment. New provisions like penalties that would suspend liquor, lottery, and tobacco licenses from storefronts selling cannabis under the table were also included, sponsored by Bronx Assemblyman John Sicaro Jr. The to-go cocktails were also extended, and the sale of alcohol movie theaters statewide is also permitted. Prison closures, Governor Hochul will be given the authority to close up 5 state prisons this year. And finally, Sammy's Law legislation that languished in the Assembly for several years would allow New York City to lower its speed limit to 20 miles an hour has been passed. And let me go to a commercial now.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Welcome back. Now let's go to another thing Governor Kathy Hochul announced this week. New York State has reached a significant milestone in growing the legal cannabis industry with the grand opening of the 100th conditional adult use retail dispensary brick and mortar store called Big Gas, located in New Paltz, New York. She says New York State continues to make progress on standing up to a safe legal cannabis industry for business owners, farmers, and residents across the state. Governor Hochul said this historic milestone establishes a thriving and equitable industry in our state with the 100th brick and mortar store. This is co-owned by 2 experienced entrepreneurs, Zyma Lewis and Kareem Hainsworth. This location recently transitioned from a temporary delivery only site to a brick and mortar retail dispensary to better serve local New Yorkers who are looking to purchase legal, tested, safer cannabis products. They have 100 legal brick and mortar stores and 10, as is said, delivery stores. Okay, next. We will have a new corporation council. With Mayor Adams and top aides facing several investigations and lawsuits, it is believed the city is on its final stages of hiring Randy Mastro, a former prosecutor who served as chief of staff and deputy mayor to former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and who is a veteran litigator known for his aggressive actions. The current city corporation council is Sylvia O. Hines Radix, a former judge who served in the role for nearly 2.5 years as corporate counsel, is stepping down. Mastro has met with City Hall officials to discuss the job. The city's Department of Investigation has been notified that he is expected to join the administration and will conduct a background investigation, according to reports. The final thing, though, is that the city council has to confirm Mr. Mastro, and that may not be easy because of the rift between Mayor Adams and the city council. Also, Mr. Eric Adams and Randy Mastro appear to be friendly, as Mr. Mastro donated $2,100 to Mr. Adams' re-election campaign last October after donating to his first campaign in 2021. And he also appeared with him at City Hall in 2022 to announce a legal fellowship program. Maestro praised the mayor's effort on crime, homelessness, and the city's economic recovery from the pandemic and said it was an easy call to help the mayor with the program. "We like you, Mr. Mayor. We love the city. We want to see you succeed," he said. There are new school-based mental health clinics coming to Bronx and Brooklyn schools. There are 16 schools that will get these new school-based health clinics. The stress, isolation, and anxiety of COVID-19. The pandemic has pushed mental health to the forefront of the conversation for many of us, said Mayor Adams. By investing in student and mental health delivery services right where young people need them the most in our public schools, we are building upstream solutions that will help build a healthier city. The new school-based mental health clinics are funded with a $3.6 million fund from the Mental Health continuum, a $5 million partnership between New York City Health and Hospitals, Department of Education, New York City Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. The clinics will also receive a total of $700,000 in grants from the New York State Office of Mental Health through the Mental Health Outpatient Treatment and Rehabilitation Service Program. The Health and Hospitals Corporation will operate health satellite clinics in the following schools throughout the next year. The 7 Bronx schools are Mott Hall number 3, SX 140, the Eagle School, Port Morris School of Community Leadership, PS 35 Franz Siegel School, PS 63 Arthur Academy, PS 277X, and the South Bronx Preparatory. The Adams administration has taken action to tackle the youth mental health crisis. Last year, Mayor Adams announced that the city has launched Teen Space, a free telehealth service available to all New York City teenagers between the ages of 13 and 17 that allows teenagers to connect with a licensed therapist through the phone, video, and text. In 3 months of operation, Teen Space has served over 6,000 youth across the 5 boroughs. In addition, the city is working to supporting New York City youth in crisis through the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene and New York City Health and Hospitals programming. The Department of Education devoted significant resources to combating students' addiction to social media and many resulting harms, including by responding to cyberbullying occurring outside the class, providing counseling for anxiety and depression, and developing curriculum around the social media and how to stay safe online. The City Council passed yesterday the gaming facility text amendment, which Mayor Adams' administration introduced last year in conjunction with council leadership. The vote was 35-15 to pass the legislation. City legislature, they approved the plan after it cleared City Planning Commission last month. The zoning change would make it possible to open casinos in certain commercial and manufacturing districts across the Big Apple, as gaming facilities are not permitted under current rules. The amendment would only apply to casinos that nab one of the 3 coveted downstate licenses, which New York State is looking to award as soon as next year. Council member Christy Maramato, who represents the 13th Council District of the East Bronx, whose district is home to the golf course where Bally's Corporation is hoping to erect a casino, said passing the zoning amendment could lead to a slippery slope in which the city attempts to circumvent its typical rezoning process whenever it chooses. I cannot support anything that removes local zoning control from the current city council members and our community boards, Councilwoman Maramato said. Our constituents need to have a larger and louder voice in this process. And since the Department of City Planning is trying to take away from my constituents, I am here to take a stand and will be voting no on this legislation, which she did. Now, a report published by the staff of the Rent Guidelines Board found that rent increases between 2.5% and 4% for the first-year leases, for one-year leases, and 4% to 7% for two-year leases should allow owners of fully rent-stabilized buildings to maintain a net operating income. Those figures, which are not actual recommendation to the board, but some data points are among others for board members to consider. Yes, I'm glad I have a nice radio voice. The 2023 report estimated increases are up to 8.5% for one-year leases, 16% for two-year leases, would allow owners of rent-stabilized buildings to maintain a constant net operating income. The rent stabilization, a trade group representing landlords across the city, said in a statement that this year's report shows that the cost of running and maintaining, every time I have to look at that, I got to stop. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later at some other time, if you want to come on and talk about it. Building owners are still reeling from last year's inadequate rent increases. The Rent Stabilization Board said increases this year that failed to meet the high cost of property taxes and insurance, record high interest rates, labor costs, energy bills, and the cost of complying with city mandates will further plunge buildings into economic distress. Now, on a different item, the Adams Legal Defense Fund, or trust has spent more than $743,000 on lawyer fees so far, and recently hired one-time mayor hopeful Bo Dietl's private detective firm to vet donations to the fund. However, Mr. Dietl has been fired as he has made comments derogatory comments to two media personnel, so he has been fired from that position. Lastly, before I go into the city of Yes, a famous Bronx nightclub, Sofrito, and restaurant frequented by New York politicos, hasn't torn down an illegal party room on its premises, even though it was supposed to do so more than 6 weeks ago under court settlement that required it to shutter for good this summer. Now, on to the city of Yes, while I have some time. The Department of City Planning Director Dan Garodnick released the annotated draft text of the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity, Mayor Adams' historic proposal to address New York's housing crisis by enabling a little more housing in every neighborhood. The document offers comprehensive proposal details, including annotates to explain complex zoning text in plain English. Yeah, that's a good one. By releasing the draft, DC City Planning is giving New Yorkers additional time to understand the proposal before community boards, borough presidents begin their official review. In addition, City Planning released an illustrated guide to the major components of the proposal, including real-world examples, key terms, more. Documents are available to download at nyc.gov/yes housing opportunity with the Y and the H and the O in capital letters. The City of Yes for Housing Opportunity is the most pro-housing reform ever proposed to New York zoning, and comes as the city faces a housing shortage with a rental vacancy rate of just 1.41%. Mayor Adams first unveiled details of the proposal in September of 2023, and City Planning is currently undertaking an environmental review. Major components of the plan include universal affordability preference, UAP, allowing buildings to be about 20% larger than the additional density if the 20% is permanently affordable, which means for 30 years it will be permanently affordable. And one city planning official has said, we hope that the developer will renew for the additional 30 years. So it will only be, and it's not rent stabilized, it just says affordable. And if we look at some of the latest affordable, there was a posting, a housing lottery for 414 East 152nd Street. The prices were, according to the new 2024 HPD affordable housing units, they are listed here in the Bronx, like I said, on East 142nd Street, 8 studios at $3,105. There are 16 one-bedroom apartments for $3,317 and 1 two-bedroom apartment for $3,953. There will be 11 parking spots, unenclosed, and 3 enclosed parking spots at the building. The City of Yes, though, however, says that they want to eliminate the parking, lift arbitrary and expensive parking mandates for new residential construction. In essence, they say that a building can go 18 stories, like the one that's proposed for 1601 Bronxdale Avenue, and which is okay, I'm getting my papers here. It is a building that will be changed. Right now, it's an M11 one-story manufacturing area. The proposed zoning that City Planning, this is in the Metro North rezoning, it's M1-1A/R7-3. Notice all the additional numbers and letters. So it will be a maximum building height of 180 feet or 18 stories. This is in Van Nest for 2,083 affordable units. It goes on a little bit more, but I cannot see a building 18 stories with 2,083 residential units in Van Nest. Well, by the way, The City of Yes proposals, which I'm talking about right now, are included in this Metro North rezoning plan for Community Board 11 and 10, even before the City Council has voted on the City of Yes economic opportunity, which they'll be doing in a couple of weeks. And later in the year, they're going to be voting on the City of Yes for housing opportunity. So how can the city planning include this in a plan for the Metro North Station at Van Ness, Parkchester, and at Morris Park? It says a building of unknown height. Yeah, that's really great, Commissioner Grodnick. Okay, so let's go back to the City of Yes. Well, I have another minute. University affordable preference, allow buildings to add at least 20% housing if those are affordable. The office to residential conversion makes it easier for vacant offices and other non-residential buildings to become much needed homes. Town center zoning legalize housing above businesses in low density areas, creating vibrant mixed use corridors, remove costly parking mandates, reducing housing costing by making off-street parking optional in new buildings, which I believe will lead to permit parking by the city. So you're going to have to buy a permit to park in the street. That's what it appears to me. They also have accessory dwelling units to allow backyard cottages, garage conversions, and basement apartments, giving homeowners extra cash, providing space for multi-generational families, which will increase the value of the home, which in the long run will increase your taxes once they find out that you have put this ADU there. Transit-oriented development, legalize 3 to 5 story apartment buildings on qualified sites near public transit and in low-density areas. Campuses make it easier for campuses to add buildings, bringing money for repairs, new facilities and housing, such as NYCHA projects, where there is open space. They want to build more housing there, which the money will bring for repairs, since the city cannot find enough money, the state and the federal government. When I spoke to Mayor de Blasio in 2018, I said, why can't you fix NYCHA houses? He said, oh, the city and state owes us $18 billion. That figure now in 24 dollars is over $60 billion, what it would take to fix NYCHA. And lastly, they want small and shared housing to lift the restrictions on home with shared kitchens and other facilities. So if you have a 4-bedroom apartment, you could turn that into 4 rooms with a shared kitchen, bathroom, and rent it out to 4 different people or 4 families. I am on the City of Yes Committee on Community Board 11. I will scrutinize these points, and I hope that my partners on Community Board 11 in the City of Yes Committee agree that this is not a good plan for Community Board 11, which is mostly 1-family and 2-family homes with some apartment buildings. Mostly, though, it is not a good plan for, say, Morris Park, Van Ness, Riverdale. There are a lot of communities. If you want to take a look at what this will do, take a look at the area of Bedford Park. Bedford Park used to have beautiful homes. It is now almost all apartment buildings. That is what will happen. We will wind up looking like Tokyo with apartment buildings everywhere. And before I sign off, I want to say later today at 3 p.m., I will be at Triple Chocolate on Allerton Avenue at 750 Allerton Avenue on the corner of Holland Avenue, as Triple Chocolate, which is also on Morris Park, opens its second store at the corner of Holland Avenue. So you can see me there later today, and thank you for watching. So let me end the show, and thank you for watching today. I'll see you next week, and I should have a guest next week with me.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets,